What is popping YouTube? Maximus the Forex Trader, and we're back with another video. So this one's gonna be a little longer because in this video we're gonna break down a full market maker cycle. Basically, basically 1, 2, 3 levels. This is after a reset. I will be explaining. Wait, one moment. I will be explaining resets more in a different level. With basically, is this area right here. I'm gonna highlight it. This is a reset level. Well, like a reset trade. Well, reset level, reset trade, confirming it. I will explain in this area more, but in this video, I'm going to explain what happens after a reset and a downtrend. In a separate video, I am gonna do uptrends, but in the market, we're more in the downtrend because the economy's not that good right now. You got me? So we're better off just studying downtrends. And I already went ahead and marked all the trades that we need to speak about, basically. So when you first start trading, like when you first open your charts and stuff, you got to make sure that you have your box levels. And basically, I'm gonna do a separate video on box levels, reset locks, and the red trend line, retail trader trend line, and the horizontal trend lines. Basically, like the basics of it, of the whole system that we're doing. But for now, we're just gonna basically discuss basically a full market maker structure. 1, 2, 3 boxes. You get me? Basically after either completion of a level, a full set of levels, or a reset. Right here, what happened? That was a reset level. So basically, we use the box as support and resistance sometimes in the red retail trader trend line. But in this example, this is basically like a last kiss trade. I'm gonna jump right into it. This right here, one moment. Matter of fact, let me go ahead and box this in. So like, yeah, I know we're just London trading and stuff like that, and basically I should be showing you the 1 hour, but you don't need the 1 hour. You get me? Like, if you can see what's going on the 4 hour, you don't really need to open it up. One moment, 'cause I like for it to be perfect. Damn, one moment. Like, if you know what's going on the 4 hour, then it's good. You get me? I feel like the 4 hour was like the best time frame to look at. So wait, actually, this trade right here, let's start off with this trade because I didn't really mark it. So let's say that basically we identified a reset level. We're going for shorts. We know that the dealer is going for shorts, basically. So we're looking for shorts. This is what the whole video is about. We're looking for short trades. In the next, well, not the next video, because the next video, like I said, I'm gonna discuss how to box in levels more, how to do retail, how to draw your retail trend lines and horizontals, and how to identify a reset and basically 250 lock. That's for the next video. But for now, we're just gonna pretend that basically we're gonna just pretend that we know what's going on, that we knew it was gonna reset, and we're in a downtrend. So we saw the dealer, he broke support, and then support now turns into resistance. You can see him retest the trend line. Boom. A second leg. What you can do is you can wait. If once you see the M formation, you can wait for the second leg for a little pullback. You see like this wick candle right here. You could wait. It's usually 5 pips, and then you could take it going short. You get me? But sometimes you gotta be careful with resets. And with last kiss trades, because you could take it here, but over here's a better trade. You gotta be careful because sometimes it don't always shift right away. It can come back a second time or even 3 times and retest the last kiss and then shift. Or sometimes it won't shift to the next week. You get me? But it's still countable as a trade. So let's say we got in, we waited for a stop hunt, like a little 5 pip stop hunt. It produced like 22 pips, but once you seen it start going up and then doesn't throw you like a doji, like double doji and then shift down, then it's a good time to just get out. Especially because last kiss trade, they just shift right away. You got me? Once it's gonna shift, it's gonna shift. So what you do is you just wait. You got me? You just wait. You might not even get a trade that same week, but once we come back the next week, um you wait for the dealer to open up the market. We're looking at the heart rate right now. He touched support. I mean resistance. Um, he touched resistance, but we know that once the dealer shifts, he can come back around a second time. You get me? For another last kiss. That's what's called a last kiss trade. So the market opened up. We're looking for a stop hunt most of the time. He touched resistance. You got me? Double doji. He shifted. Now what you do is you wait for a retest again, like another pass. And once you seen that in that candle, this candle right here, you could have traded this when it was green going down. You get me? You gotta catch it. You gotta catch it in the act. And you would have grabbed. I'm pretty sure you grabbed your 45 pips, but let's count. Let's just count it real quick. Don't mind the background noise. I got some waves going on. So definitely would have grabbed your 45 pips. So yeah, that's how you would trade that. Basically, one more. Once again, last kiss trade. The market open dealer because it's a 4 hour. The dealer stop hunted to resistance because we're in a downtrend. You get me? We're looking for stop hunt high drop. Once you see them touch it, you don't trade that right away unless you see like second leg dojis, like 4 dojis with pins to wicks to the high, indicating a sell. Then you could trade that. But if you see him shift right away, you can wait for him to retest. You get me? And he did, and you were looking at a green candle going down. That's how you would trade that trade. This trade's a little confusing, but we have to study it. You get me? So we won that trade. You know what I'm saying? We're waiting for our next candle, for our next trade setup, basically. So because basically we wait for after we win a trade, we wait for the dealer to pull back. He's pulling back, right? He pulled back, and then he ended the candle as a wick candle. And what this candle as a wick is telling you that there's no more buys. You got me? There's no more buys. The dealer's in a net short market. So what you do is you get ready for your next pullback. You see how the dealer went down after this wick candle. This wick candle right here. This one. You wait for him to go to shift out and then pull back, right? And then once you see like a M formation, like a doji, double doji M, you want to wait for the dealer to come back around a second time. You get me? Around resistance and at least touch that trend line again, or come near it and then take it for a sell. You get me? Take it for a sell. I know he didn't touch the trend line, but sometimes you could take it just a little early. You got me? Because this candle right here, this long wick candle, this candle right here, we'll look at the heart rate. It's telling you that there's no money up there, basically, that he wants to sell. So he shifted for a sell, pull back, stop hunt. You get me? Pull back, stop hunt. We seen the dealer pulling back on this green candle, but then he gave you a wick dojis. You get me? You gotta wait for another another little pullback in this wick candle. It was about five to 6 pips. You wait about 5 to 6 pips, and then you take it going short. You get me? Was this 45 pips? Let's see. Yeah, about 42 pips. That's why sometimes you gotta close early. You get me? For beginners, that's why I always recommend to only go for 45 pips. You get me? Until you really learn market structure. So that's how you would take both of these trades for this week. And if you notice, I plot resistance with the horizontal trend line because what can happen is you see how the dealer closes above it. If he closes above it twice, um well, you won't be able to see it in this example, but these horizontal trend lines, they can show you, like in a downtrend, if the dealer keeps closing above it, especially after shifting, they can show you a sign of a reset level, like the whole level's gonna go back up. You get me? But basically, you can't say it's a reset yet until he breaks resistance at the box. You get me? At the big box, you can't say he's gonna reset yet. So moving on, new week, we're looking at the heart rate. Dealer opens up. We got to be very careful because he broke the retail trader trend line, but we got to see what he does at resistance. You get me? So we saw him basically touch resistance, but that don't mean you should get in. You get me? You waiting for some type of M formation like Wicks and stuff. So new week, the dealer opened up. You see the red line, retail trader trend line. You got to be careful, but we're still looking at resistance from the white line up top from the box. We seen him touch it, but that don't mean anything yet. You get me? You want to see more action around there, so you got to wait for him to go back. You get me? So we seen an inverted hammer. You get me? But that still don't mean anything. You want to see him, if anything, close green with a wick and then open up the next candle, retest, and then go low, but that didn't happen, right? Once you see him go to resistance, especially at the 200, you want to see him how you can tell wasn't gonna reset is because he shifted up, he broke resistance, he touched 200, and he closed back down below 200 and inside the box. You get me? Because if he was breaking, if this this is basically a false breakout of retail trader. You get me? Retail trader trend line, false breakout. Basically confirming the sell more. So you saw the dealer, he false broke out at the beginning of the week. We had a touch to resistance of the box, but that don't mean anything because we're looking for M's and W's really in a certain way. You saw an inverted hammer, it kind of don't mean nothing. Yeah, you want to see him at least shift a little bit and then shift back down and then possibly catch a doji down here, but that didn't happen. So he went up to 200. He pulled back, right? This is where it is more important. But there was no doji above the box. You get me? There was no doji above support of the box because remember, once the dealer breaks out, resistance becomes support. He closed back down, gave you half a shift candle. So what you do is you gotta wait for the next candle. You got me to open up. So in all reality, this arrow, it belongs over here. Hold on. One moment, guys. This arrow, it belongs over here at this candle. I know it looks a little sloppy, the candle, because of spreads and stuff. That was probably Asian Open. But that's what I'm saying. Like, these trades, you're not going to always catch them during London. But I'm preparing you, basically, for when you get good enough after catching 45 pips in London, you will be able to look at the 4-hour chart and trade it with confidence. It don't matter what session it is or nothing because you know what's going to happen based off your analysis. You get me? But for now, to minimize losses and stuff like that and less risk, we're just going to trade London. And with London over here, it's 3 a.m., right? But what I do is I wait till 4 or 5 a.m. Sometimes you got to wait for that new 4-hour candle. You got me? To open up because of the stop hunt of that 4-hour candle. You got to wait till then. You got to take it on that stop hunt of the 4-hour candle. That's what can happen sometimes. So it can be a little tricky, but either way is the best way to start to grow an account. Wait till London. and boom, you would have had a major shift. You get me? Yeah, you only would have grabbed 45 pips, but once you get better, you're gonna be able to catch way more pips. You feel me? That's what I'm saying. Just be a little patient with yourself. Only go for 45 pips. You got me? Just it's the craft that matters. Forget the money. Forget the money. That's what I keep telling you. Forget the money. Is it recording? Okay. Forget the money. Just worry about the craft, and then the money's gonna follow. So basically, this candle right here is one of those candles where you can take just this off itself. You get me? No type of pattern, and it's basically like the dealer. This candle right here, what I'm talking about, the inverted hammer on a cell with the green arrows at. So wait, let me re-explain this one more time. So new week, right? The dealer touched the retail trader trend line. You feel me? Retail trader trend line. This red line right there. He broke it. He went to support resistance of the box, the white line up top. You get me? He pinned retail trader trend line for more buy, but that don't mean that he's gonna buy that the level's gonna reset. You get me? You want him basically, if you know what's gonna be a reset, you want him to break above the box, right? Pull back and then throw you a doji at the top of the box as support. You don't want him to close back down. But if you saw him false breakout, basically break out the trend line, and we know we're in a sell, he shifts above, hits a 200. It might not even be the 200 there, you feel me? But this example, we're just talking about it. He pulls back, but then he closes back down below inside the box, like a half a shift candle. Because most of the time, half a shift candles mean that a big shift is coming. You got me? Most of the time, not always, but you gotta realize. You gotta realize what's going on. Then you can take that. You gotta wait for the next 4-hour candle though. Then you could take that going low. You got me? Yeah, it was more than 45 pips, but for now we're just talking about 45 pips. You got me? In future videos, we're gonna talk about more what trades can produce way more pips that you know gonna produce way more pips. But now moving on, we got this new candle right here, right? This inverted hammer, upside down hammer, and basically what that's showing you is that the dealer, he's pushing against a wall with this wick. You get me? There's no market value going up. You get me? And you can basically, how you take this is, once you see this inverted hammer, you wait for the next 4-hour candle to open up, throw you a little stop hunt. You know, it could be 5 to 15 pips. You get me? It depends. You wait 7 pips at least, and then you take it going short. This candle right here, this inverted hammer, is gonna show up a lot in this video, and that's why I keep telling you, once you realize it, once you see it, you're gonna be able to trade it with confidence. You get me? This is one of those candle patterns that you can just take just off of seeing it, but you gotta wait for the next 4-hour candle. You get me? You don't want to wait. You want to wait for a stop hunt on the next 4-hour candle, then you take it going low for your 45 pips. You get me? And that's that. Now, okay, wait, 45 pips. Easy 45 pips. Now this candle shows up again. You got me? It shows up again. Look, you see, it shows up right there. So in all reality, you want to move this over here, like, because we saw it, the inverted hammer, we saw it. Then you want to take it. You got me? Boom, after right there. Then it happened again. Like the dealer shifted, he pulled back, right? But notice when he pulled back, he let the inverted hammer. Sometimes that's why I'm saying, like, this candle pattern, the inverted hammer, very powerful. Once you see it, you just wait for the next 4-hour candle. Like I said, what I tell you, you wait 5 to 15 pip pullback. How much was this? A 10 pip pullback, and then you take it going short. You get me? This is a 1 candle signal trade. You saw the inverted hammer, boom, you wait for the next 4 hours, you wait 5 to 15 pips. Most of the time it's 10 pips. You take it going short. It happened again right here. This is all sell positions. You get me? This is in a down market, sell market. We're only discussing sells in this video. Basically in the next 2 videos, I'm going to discuss buys. Basically, I'm going to look for a good example of a long trend of buys. But since the market's kind of like, most of the market right now is net short, so we're just going to discuss short. So we've seen the dealer shift, pull back, inverted hammer right here, hard right. Get me? Inverted hammer. Then you wait the 5 to 15 pips. Then you take it going short again. Get me 45 pips. Boom. That's it. You get me? You're done for the week. You won. Wait. Is it this week? You won 3 trades. You grabbed because basically we take 2 trades here. 45 pips times 2. So you would have grabbed 90. Is it 90? 90 pips times 3. 180. Plus 180. 200. 270 pips just off of 1 pair, because these patterns work in different pairs. We're only looking at 7 pairs. Don't look at no more than 8 pairs. The professionals, they do look at more than 8 pairs, but if you want to stay in the market long run and grow a small account and then, you know what I'm saying, make it big, you want to just look at 7 pairs. I'm telling you, you can make a lot of money with just looking at 7 pairs. And that's how you would trade that week, basically. So that this inverted hammer, very powerful. In a sell market. Now, I want to talk about basically horizontal trend lines. You see how the dealer pulls back and then shifts. You get me? You gotta plot the horizontal trend line and just leave it there. You get me? On the pullback, on the stop hunt. Because the dealer in the future can go back around that same area and test it again. That's what I keep saying. You get me? That's why this white trend line down here, this one, where I'm marking up, I have it marked. You get me? Because the dealer, he shifted, came back, tested this high, but then didn't pass it. He created a new high, a new resistance for the future. You get me? Sometimes when the dealer opens up, he can make a new resistance in a sell trend, because we're talking about sells here. If he was talking about buys, he was talking about support. But over here we're talking about resistance in this video. He can come back around and test it again next week. You never know. You got me? So new week open, saying we plot our resistance horizontal, not retail trend lines, even though we have retail trend lines. So we're just waiting. This is not really showing us anything. We're just waiting. Like, okay, cool, yeah. We're waiting for it to hit like resistance or some type of like pattern. Like this would have been good, this trade right here, if the dealer opened up and then shifted low. You get me? Like double doji or something like that. But that didn't happen. And plus he opened Asian on a gap. You get me? That's why we close our trades and stuff like that. It don't matter if the dealer don't shift or in London or by the end of the day, because look what can happen. Look at this spread. You see how these 2 candles don't match right here? How this was a buy, it ended up in a buy candle, but then notice how it opened up down here. You feel me? So that's why we just close out our trades at the end of the day. So I want to talk about M's basically. You could take it on the first leg. I kind of like to take it on the first leg just to get a little bit better comfortable position. Because okay, so we plotted resistance from last week. You get me? Off of the inverted hammer. We stretched the trend line all the way to the side to see if he comes back in the future. So he did. You get me? Look. So the dealer, we're looking at the hard right now. He came back to the resistance, but notice how like he's not closing above it, and he's throwing you a doji. What you want to do is you want to wait. Hold on, this belongs here. Well, yeah, you could take it on this candle. No, this candle's better. What you want to do? Sometimes you can't take on the second leg, but you want to wait for him to complete the second leg. We saw the M, right? M about to be complete. So we're going to trade it, but we want to wait for the next 4-hour candle. What did I tell you? To wait 5 to 15 pips, stop hunt high, and then at least touch the resistance, and then take it going low. You got me? So, you know, he stop hunt like 8 pips. Then you take that going low. You get me? For your 45 pips. Boom, you grab your 45. You get me? Easy 45 pips. So that's how you would trade that. this is where it gets just a little difficult. So we want our trade, right? Boom. You want to plot this right here, like these little pullbacks, and then a shift. That's basically resistance in a way. That's basically telling like the dealer he wants to go a little higher. You get me? How we look at the heart rate right now, right here. How the dealer he we won our trade. I'm saying he pulled back on the green candle, then shifted more. Then you will plot that as a resistance trend line for future references. So once we seen him go above it, break above, we're like okay, so maybe he wants to break, because usually he breaks it one time and then shifts back down, or two times. But after two times, if you don't see a pattern, then it's basically because it's gonna be a reset level. I'm gonna talk about more about that in a different video, but you should kind of understand what I'm talking about. So the dealer came back up, right? We're looking at the hard rate. I mean, this, when I say we're looking at the hard rate, is because we're looking at the hard rate over here where the arrows at. That's what I mean at that part of the video. Let me see, I'm with the chart. We saw him buy and then start shifting at this doji candle. Then you want to plot that as resistance. You get me? You want to make that as a resistance right here. You want to mark that just in case he comes back in the future towards there. He can hit it 3 times. You get me? 3 times or 2. You get me? But once you seen him, okay, he shifted. We plotted resistance. Once you see him touch it, but then close as a wick, because wicks tell you stories, you get me? Below the 50, that's telling you that he's in a strong downtrend. He's in a strong downtrend. You can wait. Let me see. That's why I say 5 to 15 pips for stop hunts, basically. So once again, we saw the dealers, because we're in a sell trend, we're looking for stop hunt high drop. So the dealer stop hunt high, Doyu Doji shifted, but he can come back a second time. You get me? He did. He gave you a long wick, basically indicating more sell, that he don't want to close above. That's basically what it's telling you. So you wait for the next 4-hour candle to open, 5 to 15 pips. But sometimes for long wicks like this, long wicks, you got to wait for another long wick, basically 15 pips. Then you could take it going short. It obviously it's not going to land on blue. It was a green candle when you would have took the trade. But you wait your 15 pips and you take it going short, and you would have bagged another 45 pips. You get me? And that's it. That's it for that week. Some weeks, most of the time, you catch 3 trades, but ideally you catch just 2 trades per pair. You got me? If the signal is valid. So it can be like a little confusing sometimes because of the dealer can close below support and then make a new box and then do last kisses. But then it could lose, you get me? But notice how the dealer, he opens up the market very weird, like a gap. If the dealer opened up regularly down here and then last kissed it, and then last kissed it after market open was more below, that last kiss would have been way more valid for a sell. But we're not going to discuss that. We're going to study more of this pattern. But moving on, don't worry too much about last kiss. Like, yeah, if the last kiss looks good, then you could take it. But if it looks weird, don't take it. That's what I'm trying to tell you. So always remember that when the dealer goes up for wait one moment. You want to, when a dealer stop hunts, you want to, and he shifts, you want to plot it as resistance. Sometimes you're gonna have to put it at the top of the resistance, then shift. But you want to make sometimes make sure that everything lines up with the line, like previous candles. If you get what I'm trying to say, you're not always gonna put at the tippity top of the stop hunt. You want to make everything a little bit matchy. So what did I tell you? Okay, new week. This last kiss looks kind of weird, so we kind of skipped out. We're at the hard rate over here, so we're waiting for the dealer to come back at least to this resistance point. That's why we plot that basically on the sell. So once we see him like go up, um, this is not really an inverted hammer. It's kind of like one of those weird candles. The inverted hammer, it gotta look perfect. You got me? It gotta look a little perfect, basically. It gotta end like on a blue candle most of the time. But what this is telling you is that there's no more sells, but the dealer can come back around to that area, the top of the resistance, and pin it. You get me? He can pin it. Um, so the dealer came back around, right? So what you want to do is you want to wait. You see how we have the kind of this M formation with Wicks? Remember how I told you basically the dealer can come back around 1 or 2 or 3 times. You get me? And then shift most of the time at resistance or support depending on the direction of the market. You get me? So once we seen him come back around for a second time, you want to wait for the next 4-hour candle or for a stop, for next 4-hour candle, a stop hunt. You get me? And how much was the stop hunt? Let's see. Because basically you could take it short because the wicks, they're telling you a story. You got me? He's not shifting above. He keeps wicking off of it, off of resistance. That don't mean just because he comes back around it, don't mean that he's gonna close up above. He could throw you another wick. You got me? And then shift. So basically once we saw the second pass around it, we waited for this candle for 5 to 15 pips. Okay, so 5. Yeah, about 15 pips, basically. Then you could have taken this short, you get me? You could have taken this short. Let me move this right here. In all reality, this belongs right here. You could have taken that short. Boom. That candle right there. Wait, one moment. To the hard rate. You feel that wick right there? Inverted hammer. Well, obviously it's not gonna look like an inverted hammer. It would look like a big green old candle, and it could have been London session stop hunt. You get me? It could have been London session stop hunt. But remember that during London, we're trading in the middle of a 4-hour candle, so sometimes you gotta wait till 5 a.m. Especially for you, Faith. You're gonna have to wait till 10 a.m. your time to actually trade that. You get me? That's why sometimes it's gonna have to wait a little bit. That's why we study the 4-hour, because if you study the 4-hour and you know what's going on, you will know what. You don't even have to look at the 1 hour sometimes to really understand what's going on. Try to understand that. So yeah, that's how you would trade that. Um, hmm. Let me see something. Yeah, this is kind of tricky, but it is a trade. Don't get me wrong. Like it is a trade. This right here. It's a little kind of hard to explain, but I'm gonna try to explain it the best I can. So basically, like the dealer, we won this trade, right? Boom. He shifted. We're at support. He kind of broke it, then closed back above. But notice how he don't want to close back above more. Basically, this indicating more of a downtrend. And you see a doji closing, making a new box level. Basically, confirming more of the sell pattern. Then you can take that. You gotta wait for the next 4-hour candle. Sometimes he might not even stop hunt. You get me? He can start shifting right away. It could be a little tricky, but it's worth the little risk that you can take. That's what we do. 12 to 15 pip stop loss. And but since we know it's Friday, almost close to the market, and we might just trade that for that just that 4-hour. You get me? If we're close to the end of the week, we might just trade it for 1 hour, one candle, which is 4 hours. You would have grabbed 25 pips on that trade. So yeah, this is basically how you trade this. Is we're at box support in a sell trend. So basically, we're about to make a new box, level 2, because this was level 1. Now we're about to make level 2. Don't forget, guys, that you gotta once you see um once you see the dealer stop hunt and then sell, then you gotta mark it horizontal trend line. You get me? You gotta mark it. You gotta what I mean by that, market with the trend line, horizontal trend line, as resistance, because when a we're talking about sells here, not buys. But in another video, we're talking about buys. It's the same thing reversed. You get me? Just really understand that. But I'm gonna show you in the future. So we saw the dealer shift. We're waiting for a pullback. You get me? He shifted a little bit. We waited. We saw that he broke support, turning into resistance, a new box level. But we're like, damn, was it a false breakout? How do we know it's not a false breakout when the dealer still closes back down? You get me? We had the half a shift for the low, they didn't close back above a blue doji. That's it. He's gonna shift more low, and he shifted more low. That's how you will trade that. So yeah, like I said, some weeks we're only gonna have 2 trades, not even 3. In this case, we had another week that was only 2 trades. So we marked resistance. You get me? We stretched it all the way to the side. You feel me? We kept stretching it all the way to the side. So what can happen is market open. Although we had the last kiss, if it comes in late of last week, he can come back around the next week. You get me? And retest. He could break back above and retest previous resistance, not box resistance, but the previous resistance from the last level. And basically, if you see him closing back above but not shifting higher, especially after 2 dojis, then you can wait for the second leg. You get me? You can wait for the second leg. So let me re-explain that. New week, we're looking at the hard rate. New week, he came back around resistance of the new level, but he broke back above from the last level from last week, but he tested resistance, the previous resistance, and that's what I'm trying to highlight. You got me? Resistance, this white trend line here. If he don't pass that and throws you dojis, then it's because he's gonna continue going back down. You get me? Because remember that we're in the overall sell trend. Basically, we're in the overall sell trend. So shifted above, double doji. We wait for the second leg right here that we're getting ready to trade. Then you wait. Remember I told you you wait for the next 4-hour candle and wait for 5 to 15 pips. You get me? It could be 5, 10, 15 pips. You get me? That's up to you. The best way to do that is to take it at a 8 pip stop loss, like a 8 pip candle stop hunt. You get me? Wick. And then you take it going low, and you would have won that. You would have grabbed your 45 pips. Like I said, sometimes we can get more than 45 pips. How we had this huge drop. But for now, we're just focused on 45 pips. And 45 pips, growing your account on 45 pips is very, very powerful. Because not only are you being very disciplined, you're learning your system. And then once you grow your account off of 45 pips, you can have $1, $2 lots, making like $300, $400. And once that happens, once you start growing your account and your lot size, you can start feeling comfortable enough to run for more, like 90 pips. You get me? Max 110 pip max. I say 90 pips. Once you grow your account and you're comfortable, then you can just quadruple up. But you don't always do that. You stick to your 45 pip rule. You get me? That's basically what we do. So because each pair, they move about an average of about, let me see, each week it moves about 110 pips, basically 45 to 110 pips. So so we had the dealer. He came back up, right? This is, don't mind me guys, this is gonna be a little weird for me to, like, yeah, this is not really nothing, you get me? Like, this is not really showing you anything, and you got to be careful because we had a retail trader support. You feel me? He can come back around a little bit more up. But once you see him like hit the retail, like what I'm talking about, the red line, the retail trader, because how we're expecting sales, right? We're expecting for him to break that trend line, which he did, but then he gave you a doji and then he shifted back above. You got to be careful because I'm not saying that he can reset, but he can go back to resistance again and try and test it again. You get me? What you wanted him was to do was for him to break it, doji, and then a little wick candle in the next 4 hour and then shift low, but that didn't happen. You get me? He closed back above it. But once you see him close back above it, which is still a stop hunt because we're looking for sells. He pinned it. He stop hunt pin on this candle, stop hunt pin. Then you will plot that basically for next week. You got me? Next week. Remind me. So for next week, right? We saw him next week. He opened this doji candle. It kind of pinned it, but not really. But what's that's telling you? That the Wicks is telling you that there's more sells. But like I said, it can come back around 2 or 3 times. Remember to retest that resistance. Basically, if it was support, like a uptrend, he can stop hunt low. You know what I'm saying? But we're just talking about sells in this video. So we're just waiting for at least like 2 more retests. You get me? 1 or 2 more retests. So once you see him come back around, you wanna wait for a little stop hunt. You get me? You wanna wait for a little stop hunt right here, because basically this was like a clean touch. You get me? A clean touch. He, like, you notice how he closed clean on the resistance trend line. Then you want him to stop hunt a little bit above it, because in all reality, this could have been like a little London session stop hunt. You never know. You get me? That next 4 hour candle at 5 a.m. or 10 a.m. for you, Faith. You get me? Wait, right here. Like I said, 5, 10, or 15 pip stop loss. I mean, stop hunt. Then you take it going short. In this case, it was like 7. That's why I say 7 to 8 pips. Stop hunt. That's the best time to get in on the next candle. Then you will get in. You get me? And notice how he closed clean below the 50 on a downtrend, overall downtrend. That's more signs basically showing you when the dealer don't pass. Don't even try to pass above the 50 EMA on a resistance trend line on a sell, overall sell position. Then it's a good time to get in. Basically, it's a good time to get in. You can either gotten in on this candle or the next candle. Once you've seen him not pass the 50, you get me? And he wicked above resistance. You could have gone in this one or in this candle. This is the next candle is a more safer trade. You get me? Because you basically knew what was going on basically, and then you just took this trade. You would have grabbed your 45 pips off a rip. Then you see him come back around. But it's kind of like it's already Friday. Was it Friday? It was kind of like already Friday. It looked kind of weird. You get me? Especially when you see like gaps, especially like how we had this blue candle. This gap, this long gap. That's why we don't hold trades over the session. We close it. You gotta be careful because the market is a little tricky. So, but what you do is once you've seen him stop on high and then kind of like drop a little bit, throw you wicks and you plot resistance. Like I told you, grab your trend line, then you plot it as resistance. You get me? Boom. And then you leave it for next week. You get me? Because like I told you, the dealer can come back next week. And then basically go short. Basically go short. So this is why I'm gonna tell you why this is why we plot these trend lines. Because notice how the dealer look. So we had market open, right? We had market open. He threw you a wick. Wait, we're going. So we had market open. They let throw you a wick. He shifted. So what you want to do is you want to plot resistance right here. You get me? Because how we had a gap and it was Sunday, Monday open. You want to plot it to the side. So basically, this is why we plotted, because once you see him, the dealer breaking above all that, then you gotta be careful because it could turn into a reset level. But that don't mean that it's gonna um reset, because remember how we have resistance of the box and resistance of the mark of the retail trader trend line. Then look at the hard rate. So we look at the hard rate. I gotta minimize it a little bit. I gotta minimize it. Notice how this candle, long candle, it broke through all three of these resistance bands. That's basically showing you more confirmations of a reset, or the dealer wants to come back to a retail traded trend line, or the box resistance, because remember we're talking about sells here. So once you've seen him like double doji, then shift low, then you will plot resistance again. You get me? Because basically he can come back around. You get me? He can come back around 2 or 3 times. So he came back around. In this long candle, and you could have taken that short. You get me? That's a good time to at least try to take it short. It could, there's 70% chance of working out. You get me? 70. So that's why that green candle's there, because I would have shorted that. That's a big M. That's a big for M. This long wick candle, hard rate. It was a big old green candle. You get me? It was a big old green candle, and you short that. You get me? Even though he came back from around for a third time, you would have grabbed your 45 pips. Off rip, you would have grabbed your 45 pips. You get me? So that's why we plot horizontal trend lines, because it shows us something. It can show that the dealer can possibly go to box support or resistance, in this case box resistance, or the red retail trader trend line, and then shift back down. You got me? That's why we do that. But sometimes he can for these past few examples, he can come back around the second 3 times and retest and continue back down at the horizontal trend line, white trend line. You see how everything adds up, basically? You could have traded that for the 3rd time, but it's like, it's kind of greedy. You got me? Like, we just let it go. So we're just waiting. Like, yeah, you could have traded that again. I most likely would have traded, because I knew. You get me? Like, I just know, like, we just know when you see big wicks like that, it's just telling you, like, there's no buys. There's really no buys and stuff. And if you notice how the dealer just closed clean over here with this shift candle, yeah, you could trade that. 2 or 3 passes, especially at the retail trader trend line. Then we had a previous long wick. You could trade that. That's basically two trades. You could definitely trade that again 2 or 3 times. You get me? So we're gonna mark that. Boom. We trade that. Then he shifted, right? And then he gave you a pullback. But notice how it's kind of like Friday. Then you put resistance again for next week. You get me? But sometimes he's not always gonna come back around. Like, he's not gonna always go back around that same area, because he can open up, right? The dealer can open up. He can open up. Is it still recording? Okay, good. He can open up, right? New week right here, and then kind of like shift a little bit, give you double dojis, and then come back around, give me double doji second leg. You wait for the next 4-hour candle, 5 to 15 pips. I say get in after 8 pips. 5 pips here in this example, and boom, you would have grabbed 45 pips on a shift. You get me? On a shift, you would have grabbed 45 pips right there off it. So the dealer shifted, you know what I'm saying, pull back. We seen him pull back, but he didn't really like shift back down below, because probably he wants to go back a little. He wants to stop on a little higher, then shift. You got me? You either waited for him to come back around that area, or he shifted back down below. Like I said, he don't always go back around the same area. You got me? He could make a new resistance, and because we're talking about resistance, because we're talking about cells, and so that's what happened. You got me? He just shifted. He didn't go back to previous resistance. A little stop hunt. He shifted a little low. You got me? He tested it 2 times. He can come back, like I said, 2 or 3 times. And then you saw that. You wait for the next 4-hour candle. You got me? You wait for a little pullback. In this case, it was about 5 pip pullback on the wick, and then you take that going low, another 45 pips. So that's how you would trade that week. It's almost close to Friday, so we wouldn't want to look for another trade. You got me? Not really no other trade, but what you do is you plot resistance for next week. You get me? You move it. You see how he came back around, threw you a wick to retest, didn't close above it, then you just wait till next week because he can come back around that same area. So what will happen? Let me see something. I just want to get like a quick overview. This trade is a little hard to kind of like. This trade right here is a little hard. I'm not gonna lie, but we do got to talk about it. So we had a new week, right? The dealer didn't go past previous resistance. He shifted back down below, pulled back. He gave you a wick candle, doji wick, 2 touches. But if you see like a little hammer, half a shift basically candle, like a little hammer, but you kind of getting ready carefully. You get me? Because basically it's kind of an M formation, but you want to wait for the next 4-hour candle because in all reality, if it was a buy, he would have shifted it. You get me? Because it's a 4-hour candle. You get me? Like if it was really a buy, this would have ended up as a big shift candle. So what you want to do is you want to wait for the next 4-hour candle. Like I told you, you wait for your little wick, 5 to 15 pips. In this case, I guess it was just 5. About 5 pips, and you take it going low. You get me? Like once again, I'm explaining everything. The dealer didn't touch previous resistance of last week. He shifted low. He pulled back. Look at the heart rate. He pulled back. Look at the heart rate. Gave you a doji, 2 dojis, closing back down below resistance. He gave you like almost. It looked like almost it was gonna be. It was a hammer candle, but after 2 dojis, if the dealer don't give you a long shift, basically a long shift after 2 double dojis, as an opposite direction, then it's because he wants. You know what I'm saying? He's closing below resistance still. You want to take that going short, and you wait for your 5 to 15 pips, and you take it going short. That's how you would have won that trade. You would have got 45 pips. Got me? So it's a little difficult to take that trade because of this confusing hammer candle, a little half a shift candle, but it is tradable. It's a little bit more advanced, but it's all right. So this candle, like, yeah. Let me see something, guys. I think I probably missed a trade here. It is tradable, but it's kind of weird. You got me? How the dealer came back around previous resistance. He wicked, but that don't mean anything. You got me? He closed back down below. Like he closed a little bit above it, closed back down below. He wicked again. Got me? How we get that second pass? Basically like an M formation. You wait for the next 4-hour candle. Little wick. Remember how I told you 5 to 15 pips. This case 5 pips, and then shift. Like yeah. It did win. It's a trade, but it's like you gotta kind of be careful. So let's consider it a trade. But in this case, we only grabbed like 30 pips. So basically, the dealer came back because we're looking for sells. Remember, stop hunt, high drop. The dealer came back about from previous resistance. He touched it. He closed back above it. Giving you the first leg. We're looking for him to retest. He went back above it. You got me? Well, like, is he gonna close a high or a low? So if we're looking for sell, so you want him to stop on high drop, you you wait for that 5 to 15 pip stop hunt. You get me? If he wasn't too sure, you gotta wait for the second leg to complete. And once you see the second leg, the dealer he gave you another wick basically up here, not shifting high. You will take that. You take the next candle. You get me? And it's good to know when to get out. If you take a trade and you don't see it grab, if you don't see it shifting fast and he's giving you dojis, then you have to get out, because it could be a market change, a market change of direction. You get me? And you just only grab 30 pips in this example. You get me? And that's why I say it's important to. It don't matter if resistance or support is kind of close to each other, the trend lines. Always map it, because he can come back a later time. You get me? In this example right here, he came back from the other previous resistance and tested it. You got me? So yeah. So we're in a new week. We're in a new week. That's not it's not really showing anything. You got me? Like, it's not really giving you an M formation or nothing. So we're just waiting for some type of confirmation. But it's like, it's not really giving you like an M or blue candle. You can shift back, can trick you. You see, he trusts the previous resistance. So basically, that's not tradable. But what that's showing you is more sell position. You get me? So you wait for him to shift. Wait for him to shift and then pull back. You get me? He pulled back. He pulled back. Notice how he's closing clean above resistance. You get me? Look. Notice how he's closing clean. So what you want to do is you wait for at least 1 or 2 more candles. See if you get some dojis. So wait 1 moment. It's a sloppy M. Don't get me wrong. It's a sloppy M. This is the first leg, the green candle first leg. He went down, came back up. Notice how he's not closing above, going near resistance. So what you want to do is you want to wait for the next 4-hour candle, and you take it going low. You get me? You take it going low. Remember, this is that candle that I told you about, the inverted hammer. This is the inverted hammer. You got me? Under the 50 EMA and the 200 EMA in the sell. Remember that candle that I showed you in the beginning of the video? This one, inverted hammer. So you wait for the next candle. You can get me your 5 to 15 pips to stop hunt on the wick. And let me see. 10 pips stop hunt. We got in at 8 pips. And you take it going low. You gotta be careful, like I told you. Once you start seeing doji, you gotta be careful. I think you would have grabbed 45 pips. But if you see like 3 dojis, slow momentum, then you get out, because it could be a reversal. You got me? It could be a reversal. So yeah, you would have got your 45 pips off rip, sure for sure. So this is a good last kiss trade. So remember how we're in a sell, overall sell, box level. You got me? The dealer finally broke support. He went to support. Excuse me. Support's not going to become resistance. He broke support. Now is resistance. Now for last kiss trade, we're waiting for him to touch the resistance, give you some wicks, a second M. You get me? Look how he's closing clean. How he's closing clean. In last kisses, you gotta wait for the full M to complete most of the time, because it's safer. He broke below the first leg. He did second leg, closed clean on resistance, because this last kiss. We're waiting for him to see if he's gonna close back above or below, and he closed below, back down below. Then you take on the next 4 hour. You get me? You wait for your little stop hunt. If you don't stop hunt crazy, then you take it going low, and that's it. That's her last kiss, a good last kiss trade. You would have grabbed. You would have got your 45 pips, honestly, because this green candle. Well, It was Friday either way, so you would have to close. Um, yeah. So that's how you take that last kiss trade. So recap of this week. We saw inverted hammer, hard rate. Look at the hard rate. What I tell you about with the inverted hammer and the sell, overall sell trend. You wait for the next 4 hour candle, 5 to 10, 15, 5, 10, or 15 pip stop loss. Stop hunt, wick on the 4 hour. But I say take it on the 8 pip. You get me? Because you never know. Then you, boom, you would have. That's how you would have won that trade. Be very careful if you start seeing dojis, especially at support, because it could continue back up. You get me? But if you're noticing that it's closing more below, then it's because I'm saying the trade is valid. It's a sell. So we saw this, that support now becomes resistance. New box level. Excuse me. New box level. He broke it. Gave you the first leg, the green candle. Then he came around, second time around, closing clean, give you second leg. He closed above, but then closed back down below, which is confirming the last kiss even more. Then you take it going short on the next candle. That's how you would have won that. So moving on, we're in a new week. The dealer opened the market. He shifted. You plot that because how the candle was big. Then he shifted back down below big. That's a new resistance. So now you're waiting for him to retest. You get me? To retest. Because the Wicks, they're telling you something. You get me? There's no money up there. These Wicks right here, they're just telling you something. So remember how I told you, it can come back around 2 or 3 times. He came around the doji, gave you a wick. Then you wait for the next 4 hour candle. Double doji, second legs, very powerful stuff. You wait for the next 4 hour candle. Stop hunt. 8 pips, you get me? Yeah, stop hunt on the 4 hour candle, because the stop hunt can be on a grand scale, and I'm talking about the 4 hour candle. But I've been very descriptive on what I'm talking about. So you're waiting for a stop hunt on the candle, not on the full structure. Then yeah, he stopped hunt. He came back around to test it, but our stop loss would have been, let me see, 15 to 12 pips. Let's say 12 pips. All the way up here from way out of the dealer's reach. So boom, you would have got your 45 pips right there. So like I've been teaching you, pay attention how the pattern repeats itself. He shifted low. This is a new trade now that I'm talking about. Shifted low, came back up. Notice how he's throwing you resistance the first leg. We wait for a second pass. You give me second pass. Then you take it going short. You get me? I don't kind of recommend to take this to not beginners to take the second leg of the M without it completing. You wait for it to complete. Basically, you expect it. You kind of this called anticipation. You wait because sometimes you don't get that wick candle. You get me on the 4 hour open. So you just take it. You just take it going short. Would have got you 45 pips. That's it. Simple. You got me? Simple stuff. Was it 45 pips though? Let me see. Yeah, 45. Like 43. If you get close to 43, at least close it out. You get me? Don't forget that you have to plot your resistance. You get me? From the previous stop hunt. The white trend line, horizontal, because if the dealer comes back around and keeps breaking it, then it's signifying a reset. You get me? So we had a new week. Let me see something. So basically, while we're all trading this, we're taking note of levels. You get me, guys? Because we have 1 level, 2 level, 3. At level 3, at the bottom, at the third box, from a reset or another level completion, this level, basically, wait, where was we at? Over here, yeah. We're in level 3, you get me? So in level 3, You can kind of like trade both ways in a way. But for now, I'm just going to keep it like this. I'm just going to keep it this simple. But I'm gonna basically on the next video, I'm going to explain how level 3 works. You get me? One, two, three. How this area works. Like, yeah, there was still some sells, but notice how it was a buy. One, two, three, and then start buying. One, two, three. But you don't always get that one, two, three. You gotta identify resets basically. So, but in a new video, I'm going to discuss level 3, right? I'm going to discuss the 200, the pin lock or the 250 lock. That's what I'm gonna discuss. I'm gonna teach you more how to box your levels. And this video, you kind of learn how to draw resistance, horizontal trend lines. You get me? But and then I'm also gonna teach you how to draw the retail traded trend line. So yeah, this is basically a full. This video is a full breakdown of a sell of a complete 3-level market maker structure as cells. You get me? I'm basically explaining cells. I taught you about Wicks, basically, M formations, and last kiss trades, and inverted hammer. I'm saying the upside down hammer.